Hi folks, it's CALC here, and in this video we're going to take a good look at the new firmware updates for the Peak and Summit synthesizers. For Peak, this is the 1.3 firmware update. For the Summit, it's the 1.1 firmware update. This new firmware brings an incredibly powerful new feature to both instruments, and that is the ability to add your own user waveforms into the wavetable part of the synthesizer. This has been pretty much the most requested feature we've had since Peak was introduced, and now using the Novation Components software we give you the ability to create your own user waveforms. You can import third-party wavetables, or you can even import samples. Let's take a good look at how all of this is put together. Now, both the Peak and the Summit are very strong wavetable synthesizers, but one of the biggest requests that we've had since the Peak was initially introduced was the ability for people to add their own user wavetables directly into the instrument. And with the latest Peak and Summit firmware, using the Novation Components software, you can do exactly that. So what does it mean? Well, I'm going to just initialize this Summit patch. And we're just there on a single oscillator, oscillator 1 here on a sawtooth. But if we move through to the more, now you'll see we've got a list of all these different wavetables. Now there are 70 wavetables from the factory directly in the Peak or in the Summit. But if we scroll all the way to the very end now, you'll see that we've actually got 10 user wave slots. And these allow us to add our own wave shapes directly to the instrument. So in this video, we're going to explore how we can actually do that. So the first thing you're going to need is Novation Components software. Now this is freely available. You can get it as either a standalone version, or you can even use an online editor using a Chrome or Opera browser with Web MIDI, and that will allow you to manage your instruments. You can see here I've got Novation Components up on the screen. And you can see all the various different things that we manage through components. And in this demonstration, I'm going to use the Summit synthesizer, but of course everything that I do here is also totally applicable to the Peak as well. Now in this first page, you'll see we've got a library of various different presets. That's great. These are always being added to, and there are some incredible sounds. These are, again, completely free, and they just get added as and when the packs come through. Really, really nice collection of presets. But you'll see now in Components, we've got a new page here. This is the Wavetable Editor. So if we click on that, now you'll see we've got another library, and these are actual wavetables. Now we've worked with the guys from Noisia, and they've provided us with some really top-notch sounding wavetables that we can use as starting points. Now the first thing to note is I'm connected here via USB to the computer, and I can see that my Summit is appearing in Components because the green icon is lit here. Now let's grab a wavetable here, and we'll just go for this first one, Noisia Bass Growler. And here is the Wavetable Editor. Now on Peak and Summit, the wavetables are populated by 5 individual wave shapes. And the thing about the wavetable is that it just basically interpolates or moves very smoothly between those wave shapes. So how do we audition and listen to the waves? Well, we've got a couple of options. There's a little keyboard down at the bottom here. And this allows me to audition that wave shape through the computer audio output. If I want to try a different wave shape, for example, this one at the end, we can use the keyboard down at the bottom. But also we've got a great switch here, which is called Live Edit. Now I want to populate this wavetable directly in the Summit and allow me to start to edit this directly on the instrument as well. So you can see here I'm set to user 6 in my oscillator wavetable list. So I'm going to choose user wavetable 6 here, and I'm going to just simply hit Live Edit. You'll see now it's appeared directly in the window on Summit, and now using the shape control I've got full access to that wave shape. A quick point about this shape control, this is actually 3 pots in one. So we have a manual control. I also can apply some envelope shape. So let's just add an attack and decay to this, add a bit of an amount, and you can hear it morph directly through the wave shape. I also can apply LFO, and all of these 3 things work at the same time. So we have the modulation envelope, and now we have LFO there as well. So we've shown how we can get the wavetable directly into the instrument, but how do we create our own wavetables? Well, I'm going to click on New Wavetable here, and this opens up a window that gives me a number of options. I can grab a wavetable that has been stored in the Summit, I can upload a wavetable directly from my computer, or I can create a wavetable which will give me a brand new starting point. Once again, I'm going to go to User 6 here, turn on Live Edit, and you'll see now we just have a sine wave across all 5 of those wave shape windows. So we've got a number of ways we can create our wave shapes. We've got some very useful tools here, and the first thing we'll look at is the pencil tool. So if I just grab the pencil tool and then start to draw in some shapes here, and now when I play on the Summit, there's the wave shape. This will update in real time on the instrument. So there we've got our first shape. Let's move to the second one. We've also got a tool here which is a line tool. This is good for being a bit more accurate with your kind of shapes that you're drawing. So let's just bring in a couple of different shapes here. Let's go for quite a triangular kind of style with a bit of a spike there. So let's just, this is the first wave shape. Let's move to the second. There's the second wave shape into the sine. Now, in addition to these pencil and line tools, we've also got some traditional wave shapes available as well. So we'll go to the third window, and you'll see I've got a grid at the bottom here, and I've got an 8x8 grid here, but I'm going to reduce the resolution of that. So I'm going to take that down to a grid of 2, and I'm going to grab the sawtooth shape, and now I can just drag across and basically create a sawtooth waveform directly using that tool. So let's move into that third shape. There we go, we've got our sawtooth. But once again, even though I've drawn in with a tool there, I can also use the pencil to do additional edits to the sound. Now we'll go to this fourth page here now, the fourth window, and in this window we're going to explore a little bit about what we've got going on down at the bottom here. Now you'll see we've got these 2 pages here, level and phase. Now these refer directly to the harmonics of the sound. And here we've got a sine wave, so a very basic pure sine sound. So let's just go to that. There we go. Now, as I increase the level of the harmonics, you'll start to hear additional harmonic sounds coming in. Now, each of our wave shapes here is based around 256 samples. We can also access 256 harmonics. So let's bring up some of the higher end harmonics as well. And of course we can use this to again further shape and sculpt our sound. Now the second page is the phase control. And the phase control allows me to change the position or the starting point of the waveforms. And this is quite interesting when you have similar wave shapes, but you actually morph between the phase positions of them. You can find some interesting and unusual sound sculpting to be had with that. Now on this final window, let's go to import a sample. Now if we click on the import button here, I can choose from an audio file or a third-party wavetable. Well, we'll go for an audio file to start with, and this is just going to allow me to access some samples. So here on my desktop I have got some of the Adventure Kid single cycle waveforms here. So let's go for, let's see, cello sound, and we'll just open up this sample, just randomly, open audio file, and now I'm given a window that allows me to choose which point of the sample I'm going to start from. I can either import it as a full wavetable, or I can just import the waveform directly from that point. So let's get it back to the beginning. Import waveform, and it's brought that shape in now. If I want to save this particular wave shape, I can just give it a name here, click on the pencil. We'll call this test 1 and hit save. And we'll save as. Done. And now at the bottom of my list here, we've got test 1. Now let's very quickly look at how we can import third-party wavetables as well. Now the third-party wavetables will work with WAV files, and will work with WAV files of up to a size of 2048. So if we go to the desktop here, I've found a folder here just of free wavetables, freely available wavetables. So I'm just going to again quickly grab one at random, open audio file here, and now it's created a brand new wavetable for me. There's a final stage, which now means that I'm going to store it directly in the instrument itself. And that's in the oscillator menu of the Summit and Peak, and it's on page 9. So we'll go all the way up to page 9, and you can see here I've got a little scroll list available to me, and number 6 here is growl. So now when I hit save, we've actually stored this wavetable directly in the instrument itself. As a final point here, just a little nice Easter egg. We've got a little rocket at the bottom here, and if I just click on this, this opens up a whole load of NASA space exploration sounds. Again, these are free sounds, and we've used some of these within components to allow you to get going with your wavetable creation. So that's a good look at the brand new Wavetable Editor for both Peak and Summit instruments. It's a very, very neat system to work with, and you can create some very unusual and unique sounds. You can really take personal control over the sound creation.